Привитание! Hi! Welcome to the new edition of the City Report. My name is Vlada, I am a film director and a screenwriter from Minsk, Belarus, and today I am going to tell you about my city. Let's go! The Republic of Belarus is the country located in the central part of Europe with a territory of 207,000 square kilometers. It borders with Poland, Russia, Lithuania, Latvia and Ukraine. The territory of Belarus is slightly smaller than that of the UK or Romania, but at the same time it's twice larger than Portugal or Hungary and 5 times larger than Denmark and the Netherlands. Belarusian climate is moderate continental, influenced by air masses of the Atlantic. The hottest month is July, with the average temperature between 17 to 20 degrees centigrade. The coldest month is January, with the average temperature between 2 to 8 degrees below zero. Belarusian local time is 2 hours from Greenwich time. The online domain is BY. The telephone code is 375. Belarusian local currency is Belarusian ruble. The country's official languages are Belarusian and Russian. For example, hi, привитание, and привет. Some archaeologists state there were people in the territory of Belarus 10,000 years ago. But officially, the history of Belarus starts in the 6th century AD, when the Slavic tribes settled there. In 862, the Slavic tribes and some Scandinavian tribes united together and formed the state called the Kievan Rus. In the 7th century, Belarus becomes a part of the Grand Duchy of Lithuania. Later, the duchy would unite with Poland until the Russian Empire came and invaded it. Belarus would be a part of the Russian Empire until it collapsed in 1918. Finally, that was the year when the country got its independence. But it didn't last long. Over a few years, Belarus became a part of the Soviet Union. Belarus suffered greatly over the next decades, first at the hands of Joseph Stalin and then during the German Nazi army occupation during World War II. Over 800,000 Jews were executed by the Germans in Belarus. But finally, with the collapse of the Soviet Union, on the 27th of July in 1990, Belarus declared its independence. Belarus is a blue-eyed country. There are over 10,000 lakes in Belarus. Belarus is one of 10 leading forest countries. There are over 28 types of trees and 70 types of shrubberies in Belarusian forests. They include birch, conifer, pine, oak, and many others. Belarus is a home to a huge number of wild animals and birds. Many of them are rare species: elks, beavers, wolves, deer, wild boar, bear, and many others. Belarusskaya Puszcza is famous for rare oaks dating back to more than 500 years ago a rare European bison and spotted eagle. The most popular religion in Belarus is Christianity. If you fly to Minsk by plane, you come to Minsk National Airport. It is located 25 miles away from the city. So generally it will take you 20-30 minutes to reach the city by a shuttle bus, or you can take an Uber taxi. You can also go by car if you rent it, and so on. If you come to Minsk by train, you get to Minsk railway station, which is located very close to Minsk Central bus station. This is Ploshcha Lenina, and you can use the underground station to get to any place of interest. Generally, underground is the most convenient and cheap way to travel in Minsk. Generally, everything of importance can be reached on foot from one of the stations. If that's your first time in Minsk, you can take a London-style bus and go around the city. Yeah, I agree, it's a cliché, but that's really very comfortable. Okay, let's start with the tourist classics. Begin your acquaintance with Minsk at Prospect Nezalezhnosti, a 15-kilometer avenue that cuts the city in half. Major tourist attractions are located either on the avenue itself or very close to it. Generally, avenue itself is a landmark and a unique sample of Stalin Empire. By the way, the route of the bus 100, which is also one of Minsk icons, goes along the avenue. The corner house number 31, located on the banks of Svislach near Ploshcha Piramogi, is a place where Harvey Oswald, the legendary murderer of John Kennedy, lived in early 60s. You can start your tour at the Lenin Monument that faces Belarusian State University building and stands back to the government building. Close to it, there is the Red Church of Saints Simon and Helena, built in 1910 by prominent Belarusian Polish landowner and businessman Edward Venilovich, who built this church in memory of his deceased children. Behind the church, there is a small building that houses the Museum of Belarusian Cinema History. There you can order any Belarusian film to watch and look at the cameras and different equipment that was used during the periods of cinema making in Belarus. Verkhny Horod, or Upper Town, is a good place where you can feel the spirit of the city in the 19th century. The Holy Spirit Cathedral is also located there. This is the most important Orthodox cathedral in Minsk, which was built in 1642. The Minsk Town Hall appeared in 1600 after Minsk got its Magdeburg rights, and in 2003 it was renovated according to the old drafts and drawings. In summer, some places of the upper town become pedestrian. Every Saturday there is a concert there dedicated to different parts of the world. For example, today we have a Georgian Day, tomorrow Spanish Day, and so on. Across the street from the town hall there is a Catholic Cathedral of Saint Virgin Mary. This cathedral was built in 1710 in Vilna Baroque style. It is also known as the Church of Jesuits. Talking about some touristic attractions of Minsk, you can but visit Trinity Hill, which is called Belarusian Amsterdam by locals. From the 15th to the 19th century, different craftsmen and merchants came to live on that territory. Presently, this place houses offices, art studios, residential areas, and of course the museum of a famous Belarusian writer Maxim Bogdanovich. Next to this district there is an Isle of Tears monument. This is a monument to the soldiers who died in Afghanistan. Coming to Minsk, you can but see the opera and ballet theater. This is a memorial of the Soviet-era constructivism. Initially the building was supposed to have 4 floors, but then the money ran out and this is what we have. Nevertheless, the building is majestically impressive due to its location in the center of park, the statues on the pediment and the abundance of marble and crystal inside. The initial price to visit the performance in the theater is €2. That would be really a shame not to go there. There is a large green belt around the opera theater, passing which you can get to Gorky Park. This park is the most popular recreational area with children's rides, different bars, cafes and restaurants, and even a planetarium. You should definitely take a ride or two on Ferris wheel and make sure you take the closed cabin, because otherwise you won't have a good view to the city. Loszyce Riverside Park is my favorite one. This is the most poetic and romantic park in the city. It was created in the 18th-19th century, but in the 13th century there was a big city on this territory. Thus we can find some ruins of this city directly inside the park. One of the owners of the park was a scientist who made different experiments with plants. Thus there are lots of rare species of trees and bushes and different plants in the park. Deep inside the park you can find the remains of the ancient wheel. According to the legend, a lady hung herself there for love. Talking about parks, I can't but mention Park Cheluskinsky, that is located practically in the center of the city. It's a beautiful park with old pines built at the beginning of the 20th century. The park leads to the Botanical Garden, which is an open-air plant museum. National Art Museum. This is my favorite art museum in Belarus. There you can find the collections of Belarusian and Russian painters, old Belarusian icons, and the portraits of Radziwiłł family. One of the landmarks of the museum is the Socialist Realism collection by the Belarusian artist My Danzig, with his most prominent project My Minsk. Talking about different museums, I can't but mention Asger Museum and Studio. There you can get the understanding of the 20th century with the help of the works of the famous Belarusian sculptor Zair Asgur. War heroes, communistic idols, national writers, everybody is there. Talking about Minsk, which is quite popular with its Soviet grand style, we can't but mention Smolovka. This is absolutely the opposite. This is a neighborhood of 2-3 floor houses located close to the opera theater. This area was built in 1940s. Green backyards, clothes drying on a line, street art. This is one of the most calm, inspiring and peaceful places in the city. If we talk about the places where locals prefer to come, we can't but start with Kastrychnicka Street, Ulica Brazil Street. The reason is that every year we have a festival there, and the result of every festival is a new mural on the wall. So you can be sure that this is the brightest and the most colorful street in the whole city. Previously, the street was an industrial place with factories and fabrics. Now they stopped working, and as a result, there is some art hub for teenagers, youth, for people who love art and just for those who love to have fun. This street is surely more interesting during the summer period, during the warm period, when there are people on the street with yoga, parties, festivals. But you can also have fun there during the cold period, visiting one of the most interesting pubs and bars of the city. Hooligan Bar, Lauka, the place with the inner yard, which is very beautiful and free and artistic. Depot with very yummy pancakes, Enzo with wonderful burgers, monkey food with falafels, and so on. And there you can visit Ruin Bar with very funny cocktails named in the honor of the street industrial past, like sex in the workshop, from bell to bell, and so on. One of the places everyone should visit is definitely Komarovka Market. Yeah, that's true. This is a market where you can buy different products, vegetables, fruits, dairy products, meat, poultry, fish, whatever. We call it the place with wonders. You can have a coffee with a Turkish guy or get some grenade juice in Azerbaijan small shop. You can buy the yummiest bread from Italy or Uzbekistan. You can have some Georgian delicious food. There is also a kebab line there. The most famous is Mirage. This place is prominent because when night comes, all the people from different parts of the city come to Komarovka, to Mirage, to have their favorite kebab. Centralny Universam Snack Bar. This is the place that unites people. Generally, this place is not about eating, but you can eat there, of course, eat, drink, everything you want. This is the place where you can get this wonderful atmosphere. Inside you can see a group of students, punks, homeless people, diplomats, artists, doctors, teachers, workers of KGB that actually work just in the corner. And they all come there to have some coffee. This is some culture. When you come there, it doesn't matter who you are. There you can have some yummy spinach soup, a spinach puff, it's amazing. Medok pastry, some cake made of honey, my favorite one. Pay attention to the wall sculptures and paintings. There is also Oscar coffee with egg and cognac. Wonderful. You know, it's not modern, it's not progressive, it's not the last wave of coffee shops and so on. But this is already a cult, to go to Centralny. This is Vlada and this is my city report from Minsk, Belarus.